Hello class, my name is Travis Knapp. I'm going to be going over the importance of SOPs in corporate aviation. I'm going to be using a case study on East Coast Jet 81 to do this. So to frame this, I'm going to go over the overview of this flight and then the NTSB findings and probable causes, and then we will discuss the importance of SOPs. So East Coast Jet's Flight 81 occurred on July 31st, 2008. It's a Hawker Beechcraft. They're flying from ACY to OWA, and there were thunderstorms in the vicinity of the field. Because of this, they came in high, they came in fast, but eventually they were established on the ILS at an appropriate speed, but it did increase their workload on the approach phase. There was a wet runway. There are thunderstorms that just increases the landing roll, and then there was a situation of poor checklist management and sterile cockpit violations that the crew did not conduct all the actions they should have on the approach and landing phase. One of those being that the air brakes were not deployed until 7 seconds after touchdown, significantly increasing their landing distance. The captain then attempted to do a go-around after he realized they weren't going to be able to stop, but they were out of runway at that point, and they hit an ILS tower at the other end of the runway, just 5 feet off the ground. Everybody died on this crash. It was 2 crew and 6 passengers. And there's just a picture of the incident. So probable cause, per the NTSB, was the captain's decision to attempt to go around in the landing roll with insufficient runway remaining. Contributing factors were poor crew coordination and lack of cockpit discipline. That's really where SOPs are going to tie in. Fatigue, and then the FAA not requiring CRM or SOPs for Part 135 operators. So just a few things related to the SOPs, and then we'll discuss the implications of these. The captain allowed a cockpit that did not comply with company procedure. There was poor ADM and CRM, and the first officer was unable to deploy the lift dump system, which the captain then did 7 seconds later. The captain did not fully brief the approach. His brief consisted of just saying, hey, we're doing the ILS into this runway, and didn't brief a go-around procedure. And then East Coast Jet is not required to have an SOP per Part 135. And when they did go to training at SimCom, which is the training center they sent their pilots to, they would use those checklists and not their company checklists that were in their planes. So that just created a environment where pilots were not used to the checklist and were not tested on them, and took it less seriously. So how could SOPs have mitigated this situation? So the captain did not fully brief the approach as he was doing it. If he would have briefed a missed approach, and most likely a no stop point would have been determined. And so he would have known at the point where he determined that the aircraft wasn't going to fully stop, that he didn't have enough runway to take back off, and it would have saved everybody's on life spored. The aircraft might have been damaged in a very minor overrun, but ultimately everybody would have been okay. SOPs dictated specific phases of flight where you can keep a sterile cockpit. And then if they had SOPs too, it would have allowed them to practice those SOPs and CRM and appropriate use of company checklists at the Sim Training Center. And then lastly, SOPs provide heuristics or mental shortcuts that can help pilots make quick decisions in situations like these. So the big importance of the SOPs: it improves safety, it removes ambiguity in complex situations such as this, and allows crews to operate on the same page and make decisions in conjunction with one another. And then lastly, if you're subordinate in a cockpit and somebody is making an unsafe environment, then you have a leg to stand on when you say, hey, we need to be maintaining a sterile cockpit here, or we need to fully brief this approach per the SOP. And that concludes my presentation. Looking forward to seeing y'all's. All this is just drawn from the NTSB investigation for this crash.